First things first, Heather, how are you?
I'm really good, thank you. How are you?
I'm alright, thank you.
Good.
Good to see you
I
again.
know, reunited again.
So where I want to start with, I think last time I kind of went into the history of the band
Yeah.
and then kind of how it all started. This time I want to go a little bit more in your experience and then your songwriting process. But before we do that, I want to ask you, you just played here at Best Kept Secret.
Yeah.
How did it go?
Amazing, you know, the tent filled up and I think we played at like 1:30. So, you know, people are still kind of getting up, probably hungover. And yeah, it was a great crowd.
When you know that you're on that early at a festival, what goes through your mind? Is it a challenge?
I prefer playing at night and not really outside.
Okay.
You know, it's a totally different environment when you play outside and inside. But it was a great show, you know, the tent was full, so couldn't really ask for anything more.
Fair enough. So, where I want to start with you is, what was for you musically the turning point where it became something more than just a hobby?
I think it was when I was 11 years old, or 12. I played guitar since I was probably about 7 or 8 because my dad plays guitar and he encouraged me to pick it up. And I always loved music, but I had a back injury when I was 11 or 12. I can't remember. I should probably remember this. It was quite a traumatic time in my life.
Right.
And that pretty much made me, I had to basically stay in bed for like probably about 4 months.
Okay.
And I didn't really do much for a full year. Like I didn't make my first year 7 of high school, and you know that was kind of a bit scary because everyone, you know, that's when you establish your relationships with people.
Right.
People make friend groups. So it was a bit odd that I missed that experience, but I don't care because I was pretty much like, that's where I really fell in love with music because I just stayed in for a year pretty much and just played guitar and wrote music.
Who did you turn to in terms of what you listened to, in terms of the songs, or was it mostly just focused on yourself and writing?
Yeah, it was a weird one really. Like Hugo, he knows so many songs on the guitar, but I don't actually know that many because I was busy being so self-obsessed, just writing like my own songs. Or, you know, you can ask him to play a riff and he'll be like, but like I just don't really know that many because I never really, you know, I studied other people's music, but I didn't really sit there for hours trying to learn other people's music that much.
So I find that very interesting because what was it about creating something yourself then that appealed to you?
You know, it's just so much more satisfying than playing someone else's creation, than, you know, creating your own piece of music. And I felt at that time, and I still do now, you know, I do music because it helps me get my emotions out and it helps me express myself. So at that time, it was quite an intense time for me, and I just sort of really needed music, and it was there for me.
Do you remember some of the songs that you wrote in that?
I do. I wrote this when I was about 14, actually.
Can you show it?
Hide and Seek.
When you were 14?
Yep. 14 to 15. Quite young. And then got it tattooed. I think it was my first tattoo actually.
Okay.
When I was 18, on my 18th birthday.
Then maybe this is too personal, but what is it about that line, that phrase, hide and seek? What?
It's a song that I wrote about my granddad. And it just basically explains him as a person.
But this is quite a big topic to kind of delve into when you're 14 and writing songs. So had you always gravitated towards that kind of?
Yeah, I'm a very emotional person, and even when I was young, I was really sort of dramatic, and I wrote about things that, you know, most 14-year-olds probably shouldn't be thinking about or even considering. But I've always been like that.
And then you also mentioned an interesting thing in that the first year of high school is kind of the formation period of them. And you say you felt you kind of missed it. So once you did go to school, what was it like for you then? Did you go into that, or did you stick with your music and kind of?
In high school, I've always been quite a reserved person, and I had I had a close group of friends, maybe like 4 or 3 that I really sort of just spent my whole of high school with. I wasn't a person that sort of, you know, you get those people where they like dive into loads of friend groups, and
Right.
I've never been like that sort of person, and don't think I ever will be. There's just something about it that makes me really uncomfortable when like, I have too many friends. I don't really like having too many friends. But it was quite an odd experience because, you know, everyone had made their best friends, and they've sort of like, and then I just appeared. So it was a bit scary, but it's okay, because if it didn't happen, then, you know, I don't know if I would be here now.
Right. And in that period, that I assume you just continue writing. Did it become serious in a way? Did you envision yourself on stage, and did you?
Yeah, I definitely did. I knew from a young age that I wanted to be a performer, and I wanted to have a job with something to do in music. You know, I love writing music, but people, you know, when you're young especially, they make it out to be really, really difficult to, or not even real. Like when I told people that I wanted to be a musician, they sort of, you know, looked at me as if to say, what are you actually, like, are you going to get a real job though? So, well, look at those people now, eh? Who's laughing?
Because of that, I do find that balance interesting, because there has to come a point where you think, well, I can actually do this.
Yeah.
So when was that for you?
I think it was when I met Ciara. You know, she made everything a lot more real. And I was just so happy that I found someone who shared the same passion and vision for music as I do as well. And then that just, especially with how talented she is with production and creatively, that gave me so much more motivation and drive, and made everything seem like it was possible.